All right, Israel and Iran are trading strikes for a fifth day, with civilians in flashpoint areas facing waves of attacks. In Iran, at least 224 people have been killed, including some of Tehran's top military commanders, nuclear scientists, and civilians since hostilities started. Missiles have been raining from the skies across most of Iran, especially its capital, Tehran, as Israel has claimed total air superiority over the Gulf nation as hostilities now grow exponentially between the two arch rivals. In one such attack, an Israeli missile hit an Iranian state news broadcast station as well. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump said he was aiming for a real end to the conflict between Israel and Iran and not just a ceasefire. He also said that Iran should have taken the deal when it was on the table, adding that he has not reached out to Iran for peace talks in any way, shape or form. On the other hand, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, had earlier declared that Israel was or has started a war and vowed that the country will not remain unscathed after launching the most extensive military strikes on Iranian soil in decades now. We'll talk about this with our guest, but first up, joining us on the show is Kobi Shoshani, Consul General of Israel to Mumbai. Kobi Shoshani, I appreciate you joining us. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you very well. Thank you.
So thank you for being here. Yesterday we had the Israeli ambassador to India as well on my show. While this war is very important to Israel, from what I have gathered, from what I have learned over the decades and in the last few days as well, that Israel considers the annihilation of Iran as an existentialist achievement, as an existentialist aspiration. On the other hand, Iran has not shied away from developing its nuclear arsenal, from in fact enhancing its nuclear capabilities, which Israel also believes that is meant for destroying Israel. Do you think that this is the reason why both these countries are at war, and this is the main reason, sir, that Israel attacked Iran?
Yeah, I have to tell you as an Israeli, and bring you to Israel for a second. There is a vast majority who support the government. Doesn't matter if they are from right or left to this operation. I think Rising Lion is a historical days in Israel. This is after what's happened in Gaza, after what's happened to Hezbollah, in Lebanon, in Yemen. Now is the initiator, and in my perspective, and I think this is the right thing to look at it, going to change completely the Middle East, and the change is going to be shown very, very soon, in my opinion, because in the Middle East, which is a very tough neighborhood, I have to say, people listen and hear and understand the news much better than anybody else, and they understand right now that it's a new situation.
All right. So, how far will Israel go when it comes to, disabling Iran in its nuclear aspirations? Do you think that this is likely to be a short-term war? Because if it is, then what's the probability that Iran is not going to go back to developing its nuclear arsenal?
When we entered to this operation, we defined several elements or several targets of this operation, and I think that we are working at it in a very systematic way. The first one is to hit the nuclear plants of Iran, and I think that we did it in a very nice way. In most of the parts, in Natanz, I think that there is a damages in a very severe way, and also strategic points in Iran. Fordow is still not touched yet, but I hope that it will be touched very soon. And the third thing is Iran has for many, many years a very sophisticated plan of the destruction of the state of Israel. And with the nuclear capability, that's going to be a very significant power to do so. That's the reason that there is no right now any opposition in Israel, because everybody understands what's going on. You mentioned a few days. Nobody thought that it's going to take a few days. Everybody understands that it's a very tough and long battle. We still haven't been achieved all our missions, and I think that it's going to be surprises from both sides. It can be tomorrow the end of the war, and it's going to be escalation. I cannot tell you right now, but definitely nobody thinks that it's going to take days.
So, the support that Iran has received has been from all quarters. But one support that was pledged to Iran was from a country called Pakistan, who's already nuclear capable. Do you think that Iran will seek Pakistan's help? Because a couple of their ministers went on to say that Pakistan will nuke Israel if this war continues. What do you make of these threats?
I have to tell you, I'm not sure about the connection between Pakistan. I know some of them, but I cannot assure to you. But I have to tell you something, and I think that I spoke about it before with Dr. Chowdhury as well. I think that today, not only the people of the Middle East should send a wreath or flowers to our government. I think that the European countries as well need to send blessing and thanks to our decision, and I tell you why. When you have missiles that the distance is more than 3,000 kilometers, sometimes 4,000 kilometers, is far away from Israel, then the idea that the Iranian regime, which is a dictatorship this way or another, that has such capability in such distances, is a threat to the world. Is not a threat to Israel as well, only. And people have to understand the cooperation between nations, which they are not in the right side of the map, sorry to say, in a very not politically correct way. I think that we are in the right line, aligned with the countries that they are in the good side of the globus. And I think that this is the most important thing. Everybody understands, everybody knows exactly what's going on with other countries in the world, and I think that's very significant. The support, normally in our days, we don't get a lot of support, not from United Nations and not from Europe. But in this case, I think that we get the support from the European, because they understand what is the meaning of this operation.
Fair enough. Let me in fact introduce the rest of the panel as well now. Sumit Peer, senior political commentator, Major General Sudhakar Ji, geopolitical and strategic expert with us on the program as well. Dr. Shubhda Chaudhary, founder of the Middle East Insights platform, also joins us on the show. But we have some breaking news coming in. Israel's ambassador to India has told NewsX that they believe that Finland is a good buyer of Israel's military hardware. He also added, and I quote, "We encourage both Russia and China for a very long time to limit their supply assistance to Iran." Listen in.
Nitya from NewsX. Sir, we have seen how Russia and China are at this juncture supporting Iran, and one of the EU country, Finland, has also criticized Israeli actions on Iran. So how do you view this development?
Well, I don't know about the Finland statement. I know the Finns are very good buyers of Israeli military hardware. Regarding Russia and China, we've seen the condemnations. I think that we are not in agreement with them. We've urged both Russia and China for a very long time to limit their supplies of assistance to Iran as a result of the illicit activities the Iranians are having. This discussion is continuing, and we hope that neither of those powers will supply Iran with sophisticated weapons that will allow them to execute their plan of extermination against the civilians.
Thank you so much.
Nitya
from
Okay, let me bring in Dr. Shubhda Chaudhary into this conversation. Dr. Shubhda, what do you make of this war, especially considering the fact that Israel has always maintained that Iran, in one way or the other, has always made their life difficult, whether it was patronage and funding to terrorist groups and proxies, whether it was open threats to the way the Israelis have lived and conducted themselves, or be it the issue of Palestine, the friction between, for most part of the last century, between Iran and Israel has continued to grab world headlines. Do you think this war is likely to end that friction in one way or in favor of one party?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. See, to answer in brief, until unless the Palestinian question is solved, there are various proxy groups and various countries that are going to use it as their own fundamental rhetoric for the empowerment of the Palestinian people, whether it's a two-state solution, federalism, or a one-state solution. The second thing which I want to highlight is that on 19th of August 1953, the democratically elected Prime Minister of Iran was dislodged in a military coup which was funded by CIA, which CIA later admitted to be undemocratic. And then later 40% of the oil fields in Iran under the Shah dynasty were given to US. It was a time of the Cold War, and currently in 2025, the Trump administration is in $33 trillion debt, along with the condition of a civil war, where two Democrat senators were shot dead recently in a political assassination in US, in Minnesota. So now this is not only between Iran and Israel, it's a regional conflict. Right now, there are more than 70 military aircrafts which are fueling from US to Saudi Arabia air base. At the same time, in the support of the Israeli side, there is Cyprus Island and the Diego Garcia base. On the other side, for Iran, there is Khark Island, Abu Musa, Greater Tunb, Lesser Tunb Islands, which are important for Iran. Now look at the human cost on both sides. For more than 20 months, the Israeli army has been in a war. The condition of the Israeli civilians who have been constantly in the context of moral panic, in cognitive dissonance, that is going on. On the other hand, the Iranian regime itself is also very brutal. But the point is that what is the humanitarian cost of a war? When wars are started, they do not end with the perceived length.
Well, that's for
with
certain.
which
The
they were
humanitarian
started.
cost of any war is all pervasive. Mr. Hidayat Ali Mirza, who's an Iranian migrant, is also with us on the program. Mr. Mirza, thank you for speaking with us. I hope you can hear me.
How are you doing?
I'm good, Mr. Mirza. Mr. Mirza, Israel says that Iran is developing nuclear weapons for the annihilation of Israel, and that is the reason why this attack is justified. They also went on to say that all the conversations when it comes to the non-proliferation of nuclear activity in Iran that the regime indulged in was nothing but a pretense. How do you respond to that?
Absolutely no. That is all.
Okay, we've lost Mr. Mirza over there. In fact, let me also bring in at this point in time Mr. Sumit Peer, senior political commentator. General Sudhakarji also with me on the program. Sumit, you've been talking and covering this this matter for a very, very long time. In fact, ever since 7th October 2023, the situation in the Middle East has been very, very fragile and volatile. What kind of a danger and peril does this war put the area in? Considering the fact that even if you don't consider Iraq and Syria and the volatility over there, this is a new paradigm which can destabilize not just the Middle East but the entire world as well. Something that Donald Trump also said.
Vineet, if I can be candid, I have been talking on this subject every day for maybe an hour, and this has been months now. I can give you dates, time, data, and everything. It's all in the fingertips. We can be debating for next 100 hours if you want on this subject. Look, Iran's regime under Khamenei wants to make a bomb to annihilate Israel and Jews. He believes the day of Akhirat or Qayamat will not come till the time any Jew lives. And this is exactly what is in the charter of Hezbollah also. Look, there are 3 nuclear facilities, Natanz, Isfahan and Kordom. Look, Isfahan is almost settled, Natanz is gone, but Kordom is still there. Kordom is the very important facility because when you have uranium enriched to 60%, you take it to Kordom. There are IR6, IR1 centrifuges. IR6 can enrich that uranium to a weapon-grade uranium in 14 to 25 days. That is why Kordom becomes very important, and it's in the province of Qom. Qom is the second holiest place in Iran. So unless and until you get that place out, Iran will always have the capacity of making the bomb. 23rd November 2023, I'm quoting International Atomic Energy Agency, which says there is at least 20 to 60 kgs of U-35, that is 60% enriched uranium there. And after that, assume there more uranium must have gone there. What is the total stockpile of Iran's enriched uranium? To 60%, which is only used for making bombs, by the way, 408 kgs. How much do you need to make a bomb? 42 kgs. How many nuclear bombs can you make out of them? 9 nuclear bombs. And what is the point of these nuclear bombs? Whom are you going to fight with? You're only one enemy. Hasn't Khamenei gone and recorded and says, I want to wipe out Israel from the map of the earth? Hasn't Khamenei gone and recorded and said there is atrocities against Muslims in Gaza and Kashmir? It is tweeted, it's marked. And just 3 days before the event, 3 days before
But
the event,
Sumit, a lot of countries have said that. A lot of countries have said that, including Pakistan, which does not even recognize Israel and is a nuclear nation.
now. Now, if you go 3 days before the event, Vineet, the General Hussein Salami, who's no more there, gone. He said he is going to attack Israel's nuclear facilities, Mossad's asset, and everything what Mossad knows. Then, after that, just one day after that, Agrachi says we'll walk out of the nuclear proliferation treaty, will not let IEA come here. IEA inspector Grossi says they are very, very near, weeks away to making a nuclear bomb. And one day before the conflict, the date, 12th of June, their defense minister says, I'll attack all the American bases in entire Middle East and I'll spill more American blood which they have ever seen. This is all documented history. Now this regime is there which is trying to kill people and eliminate people. What do you think Jews are going to wait to get killed, to get annihilated, to want to, in name of some humanity? The fact remains Hamas and Hezbollah keep their weapons down for 24, 48 hours, nothing is going to happen. But if Israel keeps its guard down for 14 hours, they will wipe it out. There will be nothing called Israel. And America knows between them and Europe, if somebody is threatening it's Israel, if Israel is gone, all these problems will start coming to America and Europe. That is why Donald Trump had to rush today out of G7. Because I'm telling you...
Sumit, you're making a lot of sense. You're making a lot of sense, Sumit. I want to pick a argument with you. But that's going to take some time. I want to rope in Hidayat Ali Mirza into this conversation as well. Mr. Mirza, we lost you when I asked you to answer my question. What do you have to say to the intentions that Iran has when it comes to developing its nuclear capability? Donald Trump said that a regime like Iran should never have a nuclear bomb because their intentions are not clean.
Why is he so aggressive for Iran not to make a nuclear? There should be a nuclear for every country, but the usage shouldn't be there.
Okay, but Mr. Mirza, when a country like Iran goes on to say that, okay, we have lost Mr. Mirza once again. Let me rope in General Sudhakarji as well. We have a full house today. General Sudhakarji, the point that I wanted to pick Sumit's brain on is this: if Pakistan is a country that already has nuclear arsenal, then why can't Iran? The fact of the matter is that Pakistan is a lot more unstable than Iran. It has also sworn to kill Hindus and Indians.
Vineet, good evening. Thank you for getting me to your show, and compliments to very distinguished panelists. All of them deserve to have the last say on specific themes that you have raised. Sumit is, as always, he is a moving encyclopedia, and I admire him. Sitting along the west coast of America, I used to listen to his podcast, and Shubda is doing a fantastic job. I'm back to India, and while traveling back, I did my job en route, and there are certain issues I wish to share. By no means am I trying to contradict. It's my perspective, having interacted with some meaningful people. You see, the question which you have asked, the quick answer to it, yes, why not? Simple, straightforward. Iran also should be, they also have a right for sovereignty and territorial integrity. It is the survival, it is the existential problem of Iran. They have all the rights to go nuclear. So having said that, what is the historic reason behind it?
But sir, this is a country that supports a number of terrorist proxies that work against Israel and the rest of the world.
I'm coming. Just allow me 2 minutes. In 1997, there is a classified document. I'm sure Sumit and Shubda would be aware of it. This document, if I recall correctly, the name of the document was Clean Break. Netanyahu himself was a member. There were very independent committee members of Congressional Party and as also Senator. That document, the central point of the document was there was no two-nation theory, which Shubda a little while back was alluding to, acceptable in the Middle East. This is an antithesis. The Americans are party to this very concept, the classified document. It is that document which is being put into practice today. America, in the heart of their hearts, they know they're supporting Israel. They know that Iran at no cost will be ever allowed to have a nuclear status weapon. But my information says, if you read a newspaper of 21st March, if I recall correctly, New York Times, 2000, in that, the chief editor had given out a forecast that Iran is going to have 5 nuclear bombs within 5 years. In 2000, way back in 2000. Today we are talking and discussing the issue in 2025. If Iran has not got any nuclear bombs, which Sumit very nicely, actually, very deliberately he recounted, 9 of them. I am saying it is much more than 9. If they haven't actually developed nuclear weapons, then, and if they have developed all kinds of missile system, 5 million, not 1 million or 2 million, 4 to 5 million of missiles, of ballistic, cruise missiles, hypersonic, and name anything. This is the same country which has been imposed with sanctions right since 1979. I don't think Iran is worth of its salt as a nation state. So therefore, let's give that little bit of oxygen to the speculations. I personally feel the worst case scenario in Middle East today, if Iran has nuclear bombs, then it is highly dangerous, because the world order today does not want the nuclear bombs to expand by any Islamic state. Here is a radical Islamic state where the Sharia law is actually spreading like anything, and they have been constantly at loggerheads for the existence of Israel. They are arch rivals. They do not expect Israel, like the Israel does not expect Iran to exist. So therefore, Israel has launched a phased operation after 7th October 2023. 3 phases are over. The 4th phase is likely to become an eternal phase until 2 things happen. All the nuclear installations. Sumit just recounted, I think, 3 of them. As per my count, there are 27 places where the nuclear establishments are well entrenched, deep, almost 600 meters deep into the earth. Out of 27, he's very right, 3 have very important fissile material.
Okay.
And,
okay. Right. All right, sir. All right. So we'll have to run a tight ship. We'll have to limit our responses. I want to bring in other guests as well into this conversation as well. Mr. Shoshani, the other arguments that you've heard from our panelists, that Iran is a sovereign nation, why should it not have nuclear arsenal is the big question. And if it does want to have nuclear arsenal, Israel can also do the same and protect itself. There are deterrents that can be created for both the countries. It's just an argument that I'm bringing to you. This is not my personal opinion, sir.
It's a very good question, by the way. Thank you very much for giving me to answer to you. When Iran, morning and evening, in the last 2 decades, declared in a very clear voice, and I have to tell you the truth, I believe them. They decided to eliminate the state of Israel. It's not only a verbal, that it's a theoretical issue. It's a real doctrine that came from Tehran and from the Ayatollahs. I believe them. And in this case, it's not only a risk. You have to understand, sometimes we would like to be naive. Naivety is a very natural thing to live with. But it's not healthy to be naive, because in the rest of the world, there are people who wants to control the world. It's not only happening in Iran, it's happened all over the world. Don't be naive. The people of Tehran would like the destruction and the elimination of the state of Israel by declaration and by action. You've mentioned very nicely, the numbers of the missiles that was, and our intelligence, sorry to speak about them, they know exactly what's happened there. And you saw that in the recent days. They started to build up an extensive capability of missiles. They have a capability of bomb and nuclear reaction. And the combination of these two can bring damage, not to Israel only, to the entire world. And that's what we need. I think that most of the entire world should say thank you very much to Israel.
Okay, Sumit, I want to ask you the same question. Iran is a sovereign country. Iran obviously has a right to defend itself. It's been reeling under sanctions for the most part of its existence as well. And, India has no problem with Iran for that matter. The only problem perhaps that India will have with Iran is the fact that it's been funding a lot of these proxy organizations against Israel. Where do you stand on this argument, Sumit?
First of all, a beautiful question. I must compliment you for that. Look, having nukes is not a problem. But if I have nukes, I want one country, one civilization to be wiped out. What is the mistake of Iran? What is the mistake of Israel? I have nothing with this. No land, no water, no money, no gold. I have dispute. Your faith, according to my faith, cannot exist on earth. So I have a regime who believes that. And I have cultivated trans-global networks of terror. And these terrorists are in millions now. I'm funding them amidst having sanctions. I don't have money to it. I keep on funding Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, name any of them. They can be Shia, they can be Sunni, but with one purpose. Destruction here, death here, destruction here, death here. I'm asking you, Vineet, today, who is this mullah wearing a black cape to decide who the hell lives on this earth and who does not live? Who is he to decide who will be annihilated, who will not be annihilated? If this mullah tomorrow thinks after Yahuds, now I'll go to Hanus, do you think we should die? Because the mullah in Iran thinks we should die? That is not acceptable in the world order, and that has to be told clearly to them. And if these regimes exist, they have to be dismantled ruthlessly. We have no problem in any Iranian people, but the problem is with this regime who believes that a civilization needs to be wiped out because my religious belief says like that, and because of my religion I'll do it like that.
Dr. Shubda, is there a problem with the regime? And do you think this is also perhaps a pretext, maybe by the CIA again, to have a regime change in Iran? Please make your answer very, very brief.
First of all, just having one factual facts after facts about Iran and the nuclear warhead capacity does not do balance. Let's talk also about Israel and the plutonium enrichment. That CIPRI report has been just released on Dimona nuclear facility. That's balanced. Otherwise, it's aggressive and it's only one-sided. The second thing is, I have three questions. First,
quickly,
there are
Dr. Shubda.
20,000 Jews in Iran. There are 20,000 Jews in Iran. Second, what will happen to the safety of Jews all over the world in case there will be Islamist extremism in Europe and US? Who will take care of the safety of the Jews? Third, what is the end game? Is it regime change? Then who will take power? Who will come back to power? The Shah family dynasty? Is that the asymmetrical balance?
We have a paucity of time, Dr. Shubda. Appreciate everybody who joined us. We have to wrap up. Thank you so much. Amazing perspectives were gained here.